Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sequoia Project podcast, the podcast dedicated to talking about the ins, outs, ups, and downs. My name is Coby, and I'm here with the very sick Dale. So, say hi, Dale.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so my voice might sound like I've smoked 27 packets of Marlboro Reds.
He's lied. They were Winnie Blues.
Yeah, I just went outside and chain smoked some Winnie Blues before
Yeah,
the
real
podcast.
quick before the episode.
Soothes the throat.
It does. It's the breakfast of champions, they say.
That's it. I had me Wheaties.
That and a black coffee.
All right. Anyway, what we're talking about today is we're going to go through some business archetypes. Now, these aren't things that we come up with. These are like kind of industry standard things. And it's basically just a window into how these different operators, like what categories they fit into. So the reason why we're doing that today is we've talked a lot, especially recently, about what kind of checklist you can have to make a successful business. We've also talked about what types of businesses are good, for passive income and easiest to start with financial capital and also time and energy. So now it's like, let's go a little bit back onto the operator and find out which one of these we are, so we can almost prepare ourselves in advance for the strengths and the weaknesses for the type of people we are. So we didn't come up. There's only one of these that we come up with. So there's 5 that are industry standard, and then I've added a bonus one at the end, which is something that I see a lot. And as we go through them, you can kind of go, shit, that sounds exactly like me. And then you'll know what to look for, because these personality types are suited to these kinds of strengths and weaknesses. So I think that'll be a pretty good breakdown. It's basically like a character, an avatar.
Yeah. I was like, what is archetype?
Yeah, but I think that it'll just give everyone a good breakdown of the things that they notice about themselves. And if you're not an introspective type of person that doesn't evaluate yourself often, you can also go off what a lot of people say to you, or like a lot of the close people say to you. Like they say, like, you're extremely organized, but you overthink or whatever. You can also use those as cues to kind of find out which one of these ones you are. And then from the podcast, we're not going to sit here for 2 hours and give you all the information, but then you can go and further look at the character or the avatar that suits you and find out some more information from there.
Yeah,
so before
absolutely.
we jump in, bro, was there anything else you wanted to say on the intro of the topic, or?
There absolutely is. I went and watched Spider-Man the other day, and I had been waiting for the podcast to show Dale this.
Oh, okay. Yep.
If anyone is, this is a visual thing, for anyone that's watching, have a look at this fucking thing. This is a popcorn bucket.
It's
got a straw in it.
Is that a Spider-Man web shooter popcorn bucket?
Yeah, so the popcorn goes in there, and then you put your drink in here, and you're just like, it is fucking phenomenal, and you would not believe how overpriced this was. But as a Spider-Man
fan, can I take
a
guess?
Yeah, you can.
Absolutely. I'm going to say a few things. Okay, so for anyone that isn't seeing this visually, it's a Spider-Man flexed wrist as if it's shooting a web, and it's all a popcorn bucket and drink bottle all in one.
Mm-hmm. The bucket's in the web, and then the straw comes through.
Okay, I said to Coby before we started this podcast, I was like, I couldn't care less about the Spider-Man movie, so don't talk to me about it. He said, I'm going to show you something on the podcast. Here's what I'm going to say in reaction to that, even knowing that I don't like Spider-Man at all. That's fantastic.
That's fucking sick, is it not?
That is actually fucking cool. Now, I am interested, I don't want to be a fucking one of those dudes that's fucking, telling you to tell the price or anything like that. I do want to guess the price. If you're comfortable sharing how much you paid for that.
100%. I want you to know it came with popcorn and the drink too. Like, you didn't have to buy the popcorn and drink separately. That would be weird. You got 50 people in the lobby pouring their drinks into a Spider-Man wrist. We did have to pour it, so they gave it to us separately, and we had to put it in on our own. But the price was included with the popcorn and the drink.
Okay, right. Okay, so this was this like a launch day for Spider-Man?
Yes, it was literally the exact day that it came out.
All right, so there's going to be a hype price in there. I'm going to say that was $60.
So close. That was $50.
You know what? Yeah, I probably would have paid the same just for the fun
that
of it.
and a large popcorn and a large drink.
Yeah.
Mind you, a large popcorn cannot fit in this.
No.
So there was a bunch of people in the cinemas just fucking tipping it in to their own things as soon as they bought it.
That's actually sick. I'm not a Spider-Man fan and I don't get caught up in hype a lot, but I probably would have spent $50 on that as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's so cool. And we got 2 of them. So
you gotta have 2. You don't want
but
to be
we
the
had
only
free
one
tickets, so it was worth it.
Oh, mate, girl math. You got girl mathed.
Exactly. The tickets were free, so you could spend $100 on 2 fucking Spider-Man things.
On 2 Spider-Man shooters. That's fucking great. Well, I'm glad you had a blast, mate, and I would have done the same thing. So
anyway, now that we know how much money I spent on useless things, let's figure out what archetype I fit into.
Here we go. If there's one, let's find out if there's one here that says we'll spend $50 on animated popcorn buckets.
Just as financially irresponsible, like that is me.
Another thing for everyone that is catching this with audio only, for the last 2 or even 3 podcasts, we've been doing visuals as well. So if you want to catch the visuals, and if you hear, if you want to hear, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, it'd be cool to see what they've put up there, switch over to YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you'll be able to see the visuals there. So let's jump into the first archetype here, Cobes, which is the builder. So you'll see we've got a very fancy graphic for all of these things, so it's all pretty.
It's got a little fella on there, but quite handsome.
Got a little fella, yeah, he is actually quite handsome. I said I put a photo of me on there and said, can you make this animated? And they said, we'll do that and we'll have to make him less handsome because no one will pay attention to what you're saying.
Dead on. Can you even grow a beard?
No, that's terrible. Anyway, let's not talk about my private shame on the podcast. Thank you, mate. I'm like a 5. If I could grow a beard, I reckon I'd be a 7. So I really wish I could grow a beard.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is the builder, and basically the description of this is the person who builds an empire through vision, strategy, and sheer force of leadership. So very strong kind of leadership, like natural leadership ability, and being able to motivate people and inspire people to go above and beyond. And the strengths that these guys have is they're obviously exceptional at motivating. They think really strategically, and to give you an idea of what that is it's when they actually think 2 or 3 steps ahead. That's when they stink. Most builders stink. But if you it's when they actually be able to break down things into processes and systems and think in terms of what each moving part does, where that for a strength for a builder like this, it might be a weakness for other people. So to them it stands out as something like, oh, he's got it all figured out. That's what they kind of mean there. Very confident and great at scaling, which is taking a very small idea, seeing the working parts, and then expanding that out and making it a bigger business or a bigger idea or a bigger team. So those are the strengths of a builder. And even though it sounds like he's literally a builder on a building site, that's not what it means. It means the person who can build things. Who can start
I was just about to ask that. So I was waiting for you to finish and be like, is this like an actual builder, or is this like the name of the archetype?
Yeah, the name of the archetype. So it's more so about being able to start with nothing and build something upon that.
I'm with it now.
You don't actually have to be on the tools or anything like that. It's literally just being able to develop something from scratch. And the weaknesses of the builder, they are usually obsessed with control, and that might sound kind of overbearing if you're like, oh well, I'm not obsessed with control. It's more so about controlling the things that they can control, understanding the variables, the parts of the process that they can actually impact, and then doing those things as good as they can. So it's not like they need to control everyone's minds, and it's not like a cult leader or anything like that. It's more so someone that's just like,
that one's later
here's
on.
What we can. Yeah, we've got a cult. Number 7 is a cult leader.
A cult leader.
But it's more so just about being able to go, cool, here's what we can do about the situation. Let's make sure that's done as good as possible. These guys struggled to delegate, which originally was, when I first started, bro, I probably would have seen myself as this archetype, like reading through it and everything. But I had to learn how to delegate, like when I broke my back. So
yeah, I was gonna say,
I did struggle
breaking your back to like actually
literally
have to do it.
Yeah, before that, I did struggle to delegate, but I think that is a skill as well. And probably worth saying on the back of that is, these aren't who you'll be forever. This is just kind of where you are now. So it shows you, what skills you need to work on. Delegation is a skill. It can be taught and learnt. And like I used to probably be this archetype, and then now I'm not. So you can start with this and work towards another one.
I'm so good at delegating.
Yeah, Coby's probably one of the best at delegating. He's just like, fuck yeah, if I don't have to do it, you can do it.
Yeah, like I said to Dale before this podcast, if I think there's someone that can do something better than me, and it's like it just costs a little bit of money for them to do it better than the amount of time it would take for me to learn it to that level, 100%, they're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last weakness here for the builder is that they could become the bottleneck, and that is because there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. You can't. If you're going to try and do everything yourself, you're not going to be able to do all of it well, or all of it at all. It's just too much work for one person. So that's a bit of the breakdown for that. Have a think through these as we go through and kind of go, oh shit, those are a few traits of mine. There will be, I said to Coby as well, there will be like 10% of people that are kind of half of one and half of another, or a fraction of three. It's not so much about being like, oh well, I don't fit any of these. It's about you being able to internalize, well, hey, I have these traits. So these are the kinds of operators I am. Who do I want to be? So it's more like a highlighting tool than anything else.
Every strength in there is just what I am for all of them.
Yeah, natural leader, expert. This checks out. Think strategically. Radiates confidence.
All 6, that's me, 100%. In every fucking, the weaknesses.
You just have all the strengths. Coby is actually a very rare archetype where he has the strengths of all of these and the weaknesses of none.
Strengths of every single archetype, not a single fucking weakness. Jacked too, so there's not even physical weaknesses there. So
no, we business owners like me actually have a small shrine to Coby, and we pray to him every morning.
The morning affirmations are, I will become Coby one day.
I will be Coby. Anything you wanted to add on the builder there, man? Anything that sticks out for you?
No. I think it's interesting that like the obsession with control, but I feel like with everything that's in the strength, it kind of makes a lot of sense that like their strengths are such things that they can control. So the struggles of always wanting control makes 100% sense with all of the strengths. The weakness, of wanting control makes 100% sense with the strengths that are actually in there.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting point to point out, because what especially for this archetype, a lot of people will get very good results from the strengths from this.
Yeah.
So they'll go, hey, when I have control and when I'm looking at things systematically and when I use my ideas, things work really well. So that's why it's such a weakness, is because they've been rewarded for so long for being in control of these things and not delegating, that they're like, well, this is the only way it works. And I was in that trap for a little bit as well, because I was like, hey, I can do everything perfectly, so no one else can do this. I do it. Yeah, so that's the trap, is that it's like, well, I'm guaranteed success if I just keep doing it this way. But if you want more success, if you want to scale, you have to have people around you, people supporting you.
Yeah.
All good on that one?
Yeah.
Let's go. Archetype number 2. You want to run them through this one, Coach? The visionary. This might be a bit more of you.
Visionary. That's me. I have a vision.
Go.
Ask. Because say something so bad. Nothing.
Share it with the people. Martin Luther King.
I was nearly about to say white Martin Luther King.
Okay, let's just keep racing out of it.
It's a vision instead of a dream. The idea is person who is brilliant at starting things and terrible. Oh my god, that is me. And terrible at finishing things. The strengths are they spot the missed opportunities that others would miss. The first mover on new ideas, infectious energy and enthusiasm, but the weaknesses are gets bored fast, never finishes what they start, and always chasing the next thing. Fuck. That's
I would say there are still traits here that you do get bored very fast.
100%.
And you do have infectious energy and enthusiasm. That's what like all of your customers say. So I would say there's still traits of this. I think this is who you started as, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
I
this
think
is
I've gotten a lot
more of who
better.
you started as.
100%.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Which is another really good example of like, hey, if you hear this, it's not a negative thing. It's just pointing out like, hey, okay, this is where I'm at now. Yeah, I would say Coby was probably closer to this one when he first started, but now he's out. He's still got a lot of the good traits, but he's out of a lot of the weaknesses for sure.
Yeah, I still very much get bored very fast. But I've learned to finish the things that I've started while chasing the next thing.
Yeah. I think one of the first things when I was just starting, me and Coby started talking about business and that, and I was helping him out, was one of the first lessons that I taught him was work it until it's done.
Yeah.
Like we work it until it's done. So like if you start a task, like don't go and do something else and don't get mixed up and chase something else shiny. Just do that thing until it's finished, and then you won't have to stress about it anymore. A lot of these kinds of operators, the visionaries, they will have a to-do list of 500 things, and they will start 20 of them and never finish them. And every day the list will just get longer and longer and longer of half-done tasks. So if that's really the overview for this here is like, because they spot those opportunities, they have so many ideas and they just run with ideas 24/7. And me and I think we've maybe even spoken to it on the podcast. If we haven't, maybe we should. But having a criteria, like if you are an ideas person and you go, oh, I have 20 ideas a day and they're all good. We talked about having a criteria for those ideas to categorize them into which ones are actually, if your motivation is money, which ones can actually be monetized in a short period of time, which one, and having a category, putting your ideas into categories. So that way, 80% of your ideas, you're probably never going to do anything with. So you shouldn't have them as priority ideas. But that's probably the biggest thing that I see with people that have come through the project with this, who fit in this category, is they just go from idea to idea to idea. And it's very infectious and very fun to have all these ideas, but it's hard to act on them when you don't complete the tasks.
I think I send you a new, full thought out business idea at least once a month.
I'd say so. Yeah. And it probably used to be more than that.
Yeah. But at least these ones are a lot more thought out. I'd be like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And you're like, well, how would you do it? I'm like, I'm so glad you asked, Dale. Here's the list of everything that I've thought.
Actually, that's so true, because in the early days, Coby would send me an idea and I'd be like, okay, that's just words. Like, tell me like how it would work, or tell me what the charge rate would be, tell me what the competition is. And I would always be like, dude, like, don't just throw words at me, like come with some thought. And now when he does it, he's like, hey, competition's charging this, it's overpriced, we could do it for half of that and it still make money. And it's very, the growth in the vision is been quite good actually over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's more than just an image. There's the story behind it. I got it covered.
Exactly. Yeah, Coby's the best, mate.
Next, Squire. Bring us the next archetype.
All right, next archetype is the operator. So this is basically the person who's like the engine of the business, who they're reliable, they're consistent, and they work their asses off. Obviously, the strengths are that they always turn up. They build a lot of trust because they're very consistent. And our definition for consistent is doing what you say you're going to do every single time. And these guys are always like that. And obviously, because they're so consistent, because they're so focused, they get things done. So they actually set out to do something and complete it. So very different to the visionary. The weaknesses are that they're always busy. Okay, so that gives them very little window for new ideas or new perspectives. So then they kind of get blinkered. They almost get into a lane and stay in that lane because they're busy all the time, and they know that the work that they're doing is valuable. So they don't open their horizons too much. So they're always busy, and it might not always be on the most productive thing. They usually tend to work in the business, not on the business. This is most business owners at some point.
Yeah.
Everyone has to go through that trial by fire of going, all right, the work has to be done. I'm the only one that knows how to do the work. So that's it is a weakness, but everyone will do some version of that. Very few people just go day one. Now I'm CEO. I've got a general manager. Do that. Yeah, it's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
And then I've also been part of this where it's the last weakness is it grinds until they break, and break could mean burnout. It could mean emotional, getting depression or anxiety. It could be physical breakdown, but they grind until they break. So this is actually a really good window. Like Coby had a lot of the traits of number one and number two, and he was probably more of number two, and now he's evolving into a different operator. I've had traits of I've had weaknesses of all of these traits, and these are the weaknesses that I've worked on to turn them into strengths. So, this is rarer than you would think. Like, there's a lot of people who want to think that they're like this, but when it actually comes down to doing the task, they're not. I get a lot of guys that are just like, you just tell me 100 things to do and I'll do them. And I'll be like, I'll give you 3 things to do. If you do them in a week, you're doing well. And then I'll come back and I'll be, the kids, they had to be dropped off at school. Everyone kind of wants to be a version of this, but it's very hard to do consistently.
Yeah. I think the grinds until it breaks, every operator is going to, or business owner in general is going to experience. I mean, fucking how many times have I messaged you? I'm like, I'm so tired, man. I'm exhausted. I fucking hate life. I think the big thing with this is people just need to learn to actually take the breaks that they need and not to fucking always work yourself into the ground, because that's worse than anything. You're way less productive once you're at that point of burnout or breaking.
For sure. I think that the thing is, and another thing that Coby and I have worked on over the years is Coby was this, was this to a version as well. Like, he would just go 120% for 3 months straight, and then get to a point where he's like, bro, I'm fucking dead. And the amount of work he got done in the 3 months was exceptional. Through some of our intensives and stuff, bro, we were doing every minute of every day was just, if we were awake, we would just pump and work out.
Hundreds of calls and fucking everything.
Oh, mate, seriously, the amount of work was exceptional. But obviously then you get to a point where it's fuck, I am wrecked now. And you have to come back from that 120, you have to come back to 50 just to recover. So we've talked about, trying to stay in that kind of 70 to 80% bandwidth, in that level of efficiency. So what you'll find over the different seasons that I've been through, and even Coby to an extent, is and I think Hometown Heroes was a really good example of that, is we could, if you operate at 80% consistently, day in, day out, that amount of work will get you an opportunity, and that opportunity will usually require you to lift and go higher. So in that window, you then go to 100% for the period that it takes to, get the contract or get the job or, whatever it is. At that point, it's so much easier because you've got the bandwidth. Whereas if you're at 100% and then you get an opportunity that requires 150 or 120, it's so hard to actually get the thing across the line because you're already burnt out.
Yeah.
So Hometown Heroes was a really good example of that. And for anyone that does, actually, can you explain, just give us a quick 2-minute recap of Hometown Heroes, please, bro?
Yeah, so I was on the news in That's Life magazine.
Arsehole.
Because of a project that was it was a completely free project where I went out and spoke to strangers and just highlighted the good of the good that was going on in the community. I live in a very community-based town, so I went out, spoke to a lot of people, asked them a bunch of questions, got a photo of them, and literally just put a post on them online and shared it into public groups so people could know what good people were doing in the world while everything was just absolutely shit. So just a whole project to literally bring positivity, didn't have any monetary value to it. It was only to get out there. And it worked extremely well within a week. It literally got us on ABC radio within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then that level, so he went out, he interviewed the people, he took the photos, he wrote the copy, he posted it, he answered the comments, he did all that kind of stuff. And then if he was doing that at 100% for, every day for a week or a month, and then he got the opportunity to go and talk about it on the news and go and see more people and interview more people, it would be very hard to keep that up consistently.
Oh, 100%.
So being able to just do that little bit and have that framework and criteria of like, okay, this is what needs to be done every day. Let's go and do it, get it done, work it until it's finished. It brought that workload down to 80%.
Yeah.
So when it fired off, when it hit, there was so much more bandwidth to be like, holy shit, I can just go and do this, rather than, oh fuck, now I've got to try and get up and do this thing. So yeah, that was a really good example. So next operator.
What's next?
Here we
the
go.
Connector.
Go, Cobes.
The connector, the relationships builder, attracting them, keeping them, and making them feel like they belong. The strengths in here of the connector are they build incredible teams and culture, create loyalty money can't buy, makes everyone feel valued, and their weaknesses are they avoid the hard conversations. Sometimes they can be rough. That's okay. Keep the wrong people too long and prioritize feelings over decisions. So very much heart over head type of person.
Yeah, for sure. This kind of operator usually is it's called the connector here, but yeah, it could also be the nurturer. Yeah, it could be either one. It's the one that brings people in and makes them feel like they have a home, which is a superpower in its own right. You know, if you've got a good crew with good culture, like people won't leave. They'll want to stay around and they'll feel like they're a part of it. And the best kind of teammates are people who feel like they're a part of building something, because it gives them purpose. It gives them like a motivation outside of themselves. And I think, you know, a really good way to explain it is if you've ever been a member of a team, or like you've ever had, you know, like whether it's a sport, or you've ever had a direct responsibility with and for someone else. If you don't want to get up and do something, but you don't want to let that person down, you get up and you do that thing.
Yeah.
So like that's a big thing. And even like, yeah, and I don't want to strictly just relate it to, you know, sports and things like that. Like even Coby and I, like we do a ton of work together over the last couple of years. And if I said, hey, like let's meet at 3 p.m. and for whatever reason Coby couldn't get there at 3 p.m. but didn't give me notice, like he would be like, dude, I'm so sorry. It would be like he felt responsible, because you're part of something bigger than yourself. You owe someone else something. And that's the kind of feeling. So it doesn't have to be a team, a team sport or anything like that. It can be literally like there's a guy that goes to the gym with you and you don't want to let him down, so you get out of bed. And that's the same kind of culture that you're building there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and obviously the strengths of this speak for themselves. Like if you can make people feel connected, you're going to get more out of them, and they're going to want to do more than the average person. And then the weaknesses are the hard part, is the negative part of being around people. Sometimes, if you really care about someone, you have to have hard conversations. These guys tend to avoid them. And I always like to say in instances like that, I would be, if you want to know if I genuinely care about you, it'd be easier to not do this.
Yeah.
Like it'd be easier to not have this hard conversation. The reason I'm doing it is because I want you to get the results that you want to get. So
the conversations that need to happen.
Exactly right, bro. You don't no one wants to do them, but they need to happen. And in business and in life, the people who are worth having around are the ones that do what needs to be done, not what they want to be done. Yeah. And then obviously priorities, feelings over decisions, not for any discriminatory reasons at all, but this typically is more of a female founder or female business owner. They just tend to be more emotional than men. That's a scientific fact. But yeah, when I see this in real time in the Sequoia project, more times I hear people being like, "Oh, I feel like the business needs this," and I'll be like, "What does the data say?" And they'll be like, "Well, it obviously needs
what do
this."
The numbers say the business
and
needs?
that's the discrepancy. And people have hired their friends before to do key roles that have KPIs or key performance indicators related to them, and they'll be terrible at their job. The numbers suggest they're costing the business money every month, but we won't have that conversation with them because they're our friends, and I don't want to hurt their feelings. So if you're that kind of person, probably fall into this category a little bit. But the good thing is that the strengths are superpowers, but the weaknesses obviously work against that.
Yeah. And it's all the skills that you can learn again.
100%.
I think it's pretty straightforward as far as this one goes.
Yeah. Sweet. Let's move it on. The analyst. This is the person who wants to know all the data. This is the results-driven person. That basically, they will. I mean, the strength and weaknesses speak for themselves. But a quick description on these guys is they will know every point of data that they can measure, which is fantastic. The weakness is they probably won't do much about it until they have all the data. So they slow themselves down. Their superpower also slows them down. So in the strengths here, we have they can make informed decisions because they know exactly what they're looking at, what they're measuring, what the goal is. They know the numbers off the top of their head. And then because every decision they make is data driven, it's very easy to avoid mistakes. Very easy to do. Like if you make a mistake, you can then learn from the data. Even though it looked positive, it might have turned out negative, and you can basically do an analysis on whether it is worth taking that risk again or not. So they very rarely make the same mistake twice. The weaknesses are they spend so much time preparing that they cannot make a decision a lot of the time, or if the data doesn't suggest a clear winner, then they do more an analysis and more and they could have just in that time gone and got the experience.
A lot more planning than doing.
100%. Yeah, kind of. This would probably fit into the overthinking category. So if you're would define yourself as an overthinker, someone who overthinks a lot, this would probably be where you would fall into. This is the big one here is confusing research with progress. And I've talked about this a lot, and me and Coby both have our say on this, which is the sentence that I use to describe this is just because information is available does not mean it's the right information for you. We will think, oh, well, I want to start a business. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm watching stuff on YouTube. I'm reading books. And we confuse that with progress. That's this kind of the analyst person. They'll go, well, as long as I'm learning something to do with the subject, I'm making progress. Actually, not true. Because if there's 1,000 steps to doing something and you're learning step 978, then you don't need to know that. Exactly. You don't need to know that until you've done step 1. So, and the last thing is they prevent launching. They stop themselves from launching because it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And again, so if you think of yourself as a perfectionist, this is probably the category that you would fall into as well. The first thing that I say to people who tell me that they're a perfectionist and that's why they haven't got anything done is I ask them, are you perfect at being a perfectionist? Because very few people are actually a perfectionist about being a perfectionist. So like if you won't launch your business, or you won't put the ad out, or you won't make the call or whatever because it's not perfect yet, have you done that same analysis of how you behave being a perfectionist? Because if you haven't, then you're never going to perfect being perfect. So like my thing would be if I'm a perfectionist, I know I'm a perfectionist, what things are within my control? How can I do them as good as possible before I can go, all right, cool, that thing's done or it's not? And am I asking binary questions? Is this thing done, yes or no? Is it will people understand what I'm trying to get across, yes or no? If you don't have a criteria for being a perfectionist, then you're not actually a perfectionist.
In every situation, good enough tends to be better than perfect.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. You'll get more done with good enough. And the thing is like and even having a definition for good enough. So like my definition and your definition of good enough could be two completely different things. But having a criteria for what that means. So you can say, hey, it's good enough for my standards. I'll put it out there. So if you have a criteria, is the copy as good as I can physically write it? Yes or no? If you haven't asked that question, then don't be like the copy's not perfect. Because if you said, well, no, it's actually probably half as good as I could write it, then just write it twice as good and then you'll be done. So
100%.
There's a lot of things that you can measure in there. Thoughts on the analyst, bro? You probably, where do you fit in here?
I don't know.
I would probably say, no, I would say you probably don't. You steer more away from this one.
I feel like I always, I mean, I do get the data. We do it, see if it works. And then, I mean, I make the same mistake a couple of times. I'm just a fucking idiot when it comes to learning. But I don't know, because I always launch things whenever it needs to go. I would say
there's not much overlap here. Yeah, 100%. If you're like, yeah, cool, it's done and I'm happy with it, then we launch. So I would say you don't actually fit into this category. much at all, which is really good. I still have some. I have a couple.
Oh yeah.
Like I know the numbers
you
cold.
So numbers.
Make informed decisions and stuff, but I'll still look at. Yeah, I'll still overanalyze stuff, and I'll be like, all right, cool. I've got 3 options. I need to know everything about all of them before I make a decision. Whereas, I probably realistically, if I just did the numbers on one and I was like, this is an overwhelming yes, I could do it. So, yeah, there's still strengths and weaknesses in here. And again, it's not about perfection. It's just about understanding, knowing who you are and who you want to become and what you need to change.
Bonus.
I think we're going to be on the bonus one now. I think we're going to be right about the bonus. This is it. So this is my bonus one. So this isn't part of the original 5. This is actually something that I just see a lot. And there's probably more than this, but this one is the one I wanted to touch on the most. So I call this one the trader. And this is the person that's really struggles to separate material success, money, cars, houses, all that kind of stuff, status, from who they are as a person. So they trade, their personality becomes how well their business is doing, and then they ebb and flow with how that works. So, I've seen operators come through who have nailed the other 5, and then they will not go home on the weekend to be with their family because they could make more money if they went to work. They will not take a holiday because then they wouldn't be able to buy that second house. They won't stop working on the business or put someone else in because then they would have to take a pay cut or pay them a salary. These are the kinds of people that I see a lot. And the reason I chose this one is because the weaknesses of this one, in some instances, far outweigh the strengths. And I see a lot of people kind of graduate from the other 5 and build their own version of this. And they go, yeah, I'm a fantastic operator. I do all these things. And then just to get caught up in this cycle of trying and buying. So the strengths here is they build genuinely profitable businesses because they're obsessed with being successful and whatever that definition means to them. They have awesome discipline, financial and otherwise. They turn up all the time and get everything done. And they're willing to do the shit that everyone else isn't willing to do, which is make sacrifices and do the hard stuff. So again, I've been part of this. I used to work 100 hours a week minimum. That was the least amount I would work, and that didn't include running the business, making phone calls, doing paperwork. That was just hands-on tools. And I would at the time, I would see my girlfriend for maybe 90 minutes a week while I was awake. So very easy to be like, cool. Like most people be like, oh, I'm not going to sacrifice that amount of time with my partner. I did. It wasn't, I'm not proud of it.
Look at big money bags over here.
Where I want to go. No, but so like I've been part of this as well. And then the weaknesses is you can't walk away. You think about 24/7, even if you're doing something with your family, or you're trying to be with your friends, or you're trying to call your parents because you haven't spoken to them for their birthday or whatever it is. You're constantly thinking about business. And then the biggest one here is, or the biggest 2 or the last 2 here is you lose your identity outside the business. So when everything's going good, you feel great. But when there's an economic downturn, when you lose a customer, when you lose a supplier or whatever it is, you feel useless. You feel like you failed. You feel like everything's gone wrong. And when you can't support that narrative of who you are with money, you start to feel like nothing's worth anything. Life doesn't happen outside of business. And then the last one is success becomes the trap. Your cost of living goes so high because of your new income that you cannot stop doing anything, or you can't take a holiday, or you can't hire a CEO or a CFO to take some of the responsibility off of you, because you won't be able to pay for the lifestyle that you've now built. And I see that one so often. Guys that are making, I've had conversations with people that make $20+ million a year net profit, and they are still in this trap. They bought 6 houses, they bought 5 cars for each house, they bought their parents a house, they did all this beautiful stuff, and then they're like, dude, I just don't want to work. Now I'm 50, 60 years old. I just don't want to work like that anymore. But there's finance, there's owings, there's upkeep, there's maintenance, there's servicing, there's all these things. It's like, well, they don't want to give away the lifestyle, but they don't want to do the work anymore. So that this is one of the things where I see, guys, people trade. Life is bigger than business. And I think probably one of the best sentences, I don't know why it stuck with me because it was such a normal sentence, but there's a Formula One driver who retired. His name's Sebastian Vettel. and he was like one of the best of all time. He won 4 world championships in the highest level of anything. Like he was for a period of time the best fucking driver on earth. And when he retired, he said, "There's more to life than driving around in circles." And I just think that is a really cool statement from someone who's been at the top and done everything. The things that people dream of. There is more to life than business. The world is a huge place full of a lot of lessons and things to learn. It's not.
I think it happens a lot to people who come from like no money and wasn't able to like have that kind of lifestyle, and then they have it, and then it's like they become obsessed with going from like nothing to everything. So I think a lot of people can fall into that trap because of the success and because of like what they've experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when you go without a lot of your life, you always imagine what it would be like to have those things. And then what tends to happen for these people that I've spoken to psychologically when we break it down is there's this kind of hole inside you that you want to fill, and that you think it's all the stuff that you didn't have when you were a kid, and when you have it, it'll be full. But then all you do is you grow up and you realize how much more access there is to be gained, and how much more people are making more money than you, what they're doing. And you go, oh, well, I went from having nothing to now having a nice house and a Range Rover. And then you look at the next echelon and they have helicopters and they live in, South Beach. And then you're like, oh shit, well, I don't have that thing. So then you constantly just try and fill it up with the next thing. And when you get more access, more money in a bigger network, you'll realize it doesn't matter how much money you earn. There will always be someone doing something crazier, bigger,
absolutely,
and outside of what you're doing. So that hole just continues to grow as you gain awareness. It starts with, oh, I was the kid at school with the broken sneakers while everyone else had Air Force Ones. And now I'm that millionaire with one boat and my neighbor has 6 boats. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So if you don't fix it at its core,
absolutely,
you can spend your whole life doing it. The last thing that I want to say here is a little short story that I had here, and I don't know if have you seen these movies here?
I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street.
That's
3 hours. I've been meaning to, but Catch Me If You Can, I think I have.
Yeah, it's a good. I think it's the same actor in those two. But all of these movies have something in common, which is the guys started from nothing and wanted to become uber wealthy. And there's always a point in all of these movies where they could have just gone, they had everything they dreamed of when they started. Like some of it was just like, oh, I just want to make $1 million. I just don't want to have to work for anyone anymore. It was a very simple, humble dream. And there's always a point in these movies or in these stories, and they're all based on real stories, I believe, is where they get to a point where they could just go, all right, cool, that's it. I'm out. I've got enough and I'm out. And everyone that watches those movies, and when I watched these movies for the first time, I would just be like, dude, you've got everything and you've got a chance to get out clean, like right here, and it's guaranteed. And I always told myself when I watched these movies, if I ever get to that point, I'm going to get out. I'm not going to be that greedy guy that's like, oh, I can get a little more out of it or whatever it is. I said, if I get to that point, I'm just going to get out. And it came down to when I was selling my businesses, where I was like, oh man, like I could still build these and there's still more room in here and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, but I always told myself if I got to this level where everything I always dreamed of was on the table and it was guaranteed, I would just take it. And that's what I did. And a lot of people don't do that. And then they get further in and like, I can go and build another thing and I can go and start another business and all that, this is guaranteed and life will go on. But in these movies, you'll see a lot of people will just go, nah, I need to keep going. I need to, I need to take this extra risk. And that's part of the trader thing there. So if you get to that opportunity, please, for the love of God, take it. Life will not end. You'll just have to change as a person and build something new. Because I mean, there's things now that even in the businesses that I sold that I said, like, hey, I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. There are things that they're doing now where I'm like, thank God I'm not a part of that anymore, because I don't think it's
but it's
right
not your problem anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to trade everything for exactly right. So that's my little spiel at the end of all that there. Find out what kind of operator you are, and be aware of what that is and what the shortcomings, the strengths and the weaknesses of it are. And then if that fits who you want to be in the future, great. If not, take the lessons from the other archetypes.
And if you need a hand in working on those weaknesses and the archetypes that you are, or even discovering what you are, then we have the free Sequoia Project group on Facebook that you can join. And we'll help you out.
Bingo. That's my guy right there. No,
ask your questions and we'll help you out best we can. Dale's always in there. He's got nothing better to do with his life. He sold his businesses.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm on Facebook 24/7, so someone fucking talk to me.
But it's still there.
All good. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.